I am super excited today because I have a very special guest with me, and you will know that I talk a lot about old programming, all of those old beliefs that were created in childhood that guide our behavior today. And I personally focus on the beliefs that are going to keep you from the happiness that you deserve. And for some of us, our programming around food and body weight is going to be a big contributor. So I am thrilled to introduce our behavior expert, Michaela Gaffen, who is here to talk about reprogramming your relationship with food so that you can break free from the habits that are keeping you from achieving your goals. And this is my favorite part, permanently transform how you feel and how you look. Yay! So Michaela, welcome. We have so much programming about food and body image. What are your things? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's so huge and it's so deeply ingrained that it's the only thing to work on if you want to fix your relationship with food. You have to look at the origin because a lot of what we do, for example, is emotional eating. When you're a little kid, you're running around, you fall down, scrape your knee, and parent says, "Oh no, don't cry, here, have a cookie." Great, fat and sugar, cheers. So your brain associates that with comfort, with "you'll be okay here, eat this." And then certain people will have particular foods that they are associated with, like mum's apple pie or whatever it's going to be, but it's always full of sugar and fat, right? It's
Yeah.
it's like a given, it has to be that way, almost. And so when you're older, oh, I'm not feeling good, I need to eat this thing. Oh, I'm missing this person, I need to eat this thing. That's one side of it. Then you have the clean plate club. Anybody? Clean
Oh,
plate?
we, yeah, clean the
You.
table until your plate's clean. Yeah.
Right. And also, you can never mail those peas to the starving kids in whatever country it is because the parent gets upset with you then. I never understood why as a kid, but that clean plate syndrome, can't speak, that sticks with you. And the message of, well, I have to eat it, otherwise it's a waste. But, I mean, really, what are you, a trash can? No, you don't have to eat it. But that's the message we have. So we get these layers of food relationship building up from childhood. And it means all kinds of things other than food, right? It means all sorts of things about you.
Yeah.
It means things about your relationship. And, that's a whole approach. And then if I can launch into one more thing, when there's pain in a relationship or there's pain in your life, one of the things you do is you want to hide. One of the ways to hide is to eat more and kind of cover yourself, right? And so people are carrying layers of pain, literally, from their relationship with food. They think the food's going to fix something. It doesn't. It's not its purpose in life. But we don't know that because this is a programming thing
Right. It's
that has to be
subconscious.
addressed.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. Like this is completely subconscious. And I think about my own relationships with food, and absolutely I go for the sugar if I'm tired, if I'm stressed, if I'm having a bad day, it's like I want that donut, I want that sweet, delicious coffee latte, I deserve it. And I will,
Oh,
yeah, convince myself that I deserve it and it'll feel better. So, okay, so we understand the backstory. We understand the subconscious programming that is actually sabotaging our efforts. And even when the front part of our mind is like, okay, I have a plan, I have a path, I'm going to do this, the back part sabotage it. So how do we get around that?
well, here's the thing. First of all, you have to be aware of it, right? If you're just in this cycle and you have no idea it's happening, and usually we don't, then how can you possibly step out of that cycle? You can't. So the first step is awareness. And that's something that I like to work on with everybody because if you're not aware of it, how can you possibly fix it? And it needs to be your choice. Here's the thing. So the diet industry, for example, operates on a sort of, hey, you're not right. You need to do this in order to be right. Follow this program and we'll fix you. Oh no, that didn't work. You didn't stick to it. Well, actually, anybody that's been on the gazillion diets that most people go through, I think it's something like 34 diets per
Oh, wow.
person on average in the US anyway. in a lifetime. And of course, they don't work. They're not designed to work. It's not you failing. You're doing exactly what those things are designing for you. It's the diets that don't work. Of course, they don't. They're restrictive. And then we go into this whole punitive cycle in our heads, right? Like what you were just saying about the harder you try, the more you self sabotage. Well, yeah, because your brain's saying, who do you think you are? Slap, 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 right? And that old programming comes up and it's like, no, you can't do that. That's not the story. That's not how it goes. You have to be over here. And so you sabotage to stay over here.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
deep problem.
Yeah. So if it runs so deep and you start becoming aware of the problem, what do we do next?
There's a whole process. And I would love to get into that with you in a little bit because that's something I'm starting at the end of January. But there is a process to, okay, I've got this awareness. Can I go deeper? How much awareness do I need around this? Well, you need a lot because there are layers of awareness, just like there are layers of programming.
Mm.
And so the more you understand exactly why you're reaching for that cookie, the more you have a choice then as to whether you do that thing or not. You don't have to reach for it, but the whole aim of food freedom and of freedom from this programming is that you can make an aware decision. You can make an informed choice. And that I'm all about giving that to people. It's like, no, you get to decide. Don't have that latte tell you that you've got to have it at 10 o'clock in the morning. Who God made that God? You know, no, the latte doesn't get to control you. The cookie doesn't get to control you. The, if you have a narrative running of, well, it's Friday, so it's pizza day, or, oh, I've got to have my coffee. I can't function in the morning without my coffee, or, I must have breakfast, whatever you've got to have or you must do, think about who's in control there. Is it you? Or is it that substance, that thing that you keep having, that cookie, that coffee, that whatever it is? And
Yeah.
who do you want to be in control? Do you want to choose that? Or do you want it to tell you you have to do it?
I love that. Like anybody who's followed me for more than 5 minutes knows that I say every time, take back your power to choose. And so that is amazing. And that is a first step in reprogramming and creating different programs that are going to allow you to have that subconscious narrative that actually
Choose
moves
my
you
winter cup.
towards your goals. Yeah. Okay. So so if they're okay, are you able to describe the process? Because you alluded to
So
a process. Are there steps in it?
there are, but it's a very involved process. And one of the keys, funnily enough, is to not telling you about it too soon. Because if you anticipate it, then people start trying to get ahead of the game.
Oh yeah.
Like if I said to you, for example, whatever you do, eat the food that you want to eat, whatever that looks like, for the next week, you'd be probably going into a story of, well, yeah, but I want to do something about this, so maybe I should stop eating ice cream. And
Mm.
it's like, no, 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 no. I want you to come back here because there is a process and there's a point to it.
Yeah.
And one of the things I can tell you is using your willpower, saying, this time I've got it, I'm going to do it. Yeah, all that energy. Nope, we're not doing that actually. In fact, willpower is specifically not required because it's a tiny muscle. And if you're doing something using willpower, it's an energy of force. You're making yourself do that. And that's where every single person listening, you and I as well, we've all done it, where we're just like, I've just got to get through this next week. I've just got to do this thing. I've just got to stop eating da-da or drinking da-da. No, it doesn't last because there's nothing anchoring that. There's no why, there's no reason. There's just, it's a decision based on not a lot, right? You don't know why you want to not eat this thing. You don't even know if that's true, right? If you once figure out what that cookie does to you when you eat it, and you discover, oh, hey, I have a food allergy, or oh, that really makes my stomach feel uncomfortable. Well, now you have some information. Now you can choose, do you want to eat that cookie and have the consequences? Or would you rather avoid the consequences and not eat the cookie? I don't know. It's your choice.
I really love that distinction between willpower and the power to choose, because I think that those two end up being blurred together. I know when I use willpower, I am feeling deprived. I am feeling not good
Oh,
enough.
yeah.
My brain is telling me I don't deserve that cookie or whatever because I'm fat and ugly and all of the things that my mind BS is going to tell me. And that's where willpower comes from. And I love that you've distinguished that from the power to choose, because the power to choose comes from love. The power to choose comes from a place of worthiness. It's the opposite. It's like, you are worthy of that positive choice, hon. You deserve to have whatever it is that you desire, and you get to choose these two from these two desires. And it could be the cookie sometimes, and it could not be, right? It's a very different energy, and I love that you've gone there. Can you expand on that, or what else do you want to tell our audience about that?
Yeah, totally. Well, the thing is, if you're making a conscious choice now, you can literally walk past that cookie and it doesn't impact you, right? Because no, I'm not choosing that right now. If you do want it, you don't have to beat yourself up. One of the things about this program that I'm getting into very shortly, it starts at the end of January. The key thing there is that it's all about your choice, and it's not about being deprived, punitive. There's no sort of, you can never eat that again. You can't do this again. It's much more predicated along the lines of, how does that work for you?
Mm.
What happens when you do that? And here's the thing, a lot of people will come in to the program for weight loss, but a lot of people come in to get their relationship with food sorted out because they don't feel in control. More people will come in because they feel that they've got autoimmune conditions or allergies or something like that that could improve, and they don't want to take yet another medication.
Mm.
A big motivator for me is the healthcare system, whether you're looking in Canada or the US, doesn't matter. I've worked in both, and I can tell you they're broken. They're not set up for the society we have. They're not set up to handle the stuff that the food industry is doing to people with all the chemicals in the food. It's just not set for that. So, what we have is a sort of disease management system rather than a healthcare industry. And what I'd like to see is a self care situation where we are taking control of our health by making choices that work for us at that time. There's no judgment from anybody else because nobody else is eating that cookie or not eating that cookie. It's not their business. That's not the issue. But it's really all about taking back control or even taking control, because maybe you never had it from that childhood programming, and really being able to make decisions that you choose. And that is so empowering. It's just like, yeah, actually, no, I don't want that. And it's fine. You know, when somebody's pressuring you, but I made this specially for you. Well, thank you. I appreciate the love that went into that, but I'm not eating it right now.
Mm.
You know, like, oh, what did she just do? She just broke the cycle, right? The whole, well, I say this, you say that, da 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 da. This is how behavior goes. And I'm all about behavior because that's where you can make the changes that matter in your life is by changing your behavior. Your behavior is what gets you what you get, right?
Yeah. I love that you brought up the people around you too, because it's interesting because every single one of us has our own programming.
Mhm.
And every single one of us is going to manifest that in a different way, or express that in a different way, right? And so I have definitely found that people around me, or even myself, with like, I have, teenage children who are going through, the body image, self-awareness phase where they're, becoming aware of, how they look and are perceived by their peers. And I know that when one of my children says, oh, I'm not good enough to eat that, I will launch into a tirade. I will, start making, different foods. Like I change my behavior because of their behavior. And that can have a big impact. Like, we're not doing this in isolation. There are all sorts of influences around us. So do you have any tips for people of how they can either manage it themselves and figure that out, and then also manage the influences around them, like the group meals and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really glad you asked that because there is so much. Okay, so I just mentioned how you go to a place and somebody says, but I made you this apple pie specially for you. So you saying I don't want it triggers all their programming too, right? But apple pie means love. You have to eat it or you don't love me, right? It's not a conscious thing. This is a completely subconscious thing. But you are now dealing with their programming as well. So instead of being upset with them because they're not supporting you, man, they can't support you right now. They can't support themselves because they have their own programming. So a way to look at it is with some compassion for them, like, oh yeah, I triggered them. And then how can you present what you need in a way that they can accept? And generally, the fewer words, the better, and make it a really precise message. So what I said before was, I appreciate the love that went into that tick box, and it looks amazing, it smells wonderful, but I'm not eating that right now. Or I'm just not, I don't want the apple pie. It's easier if you say something categorical like, I'm not eating that now. Because while they might look at you like you're nuts, you didn't leave a door open. Now they may come up with something else. Well, here, have a brownie instead. Actually, it's the sugar and the fat that I'm choosing not to eat right now. But I really appreciate the offer. Now, how is there something else that I could eat that doesn't have those things in? What have you got? And then you change the subject. If you're going to a restaurant, well, the menu is simply a list of ingredients that they've organized. You don't have to have the ingredients in that particular way, unless you're going to a fast food place, and that's a whole other conversation. But if you're going to a restaurant, whatever ingredients they have on their menu, they can combine them differently for you. And if they can't, I suggest you find another restaurant, because it means it's pre-made and you don't want that. So be that person and say what you want to eat, because why would you pay for food you don't want to eat? We do it, right? But again, this comes from that people-pleasing thing when you're a child. Don't make a fuss. They gave you this thing, so you should accept it. Again, are you a trash can? No, you don't have to accept it. In fact, you need to help them by not accepting it, so they learn that there's another way of doing things. Ooh, concept.
Oh, yeah, I have a big program around not bothering people, not making waves, being polite and kind and sweet. And I have learned that I can be all of those things while also advocating for myself. Right. So I can order that special meal and thank them profusely and give my compliments to the chef and, do all of the things that still feel good to me, but also meet my needs. And that was a big shift for me.
It's huge, because if you can ask for what you want, stand your ground, and no, just a little bit of what I said I didn't want isn't okay. It's like saying a little bit of strychnine won't hurt you. Here, have a bit of arsenic. It's not a big deal. Well, no, I choose not to have those things. Thank you. So being really solid in your decision before you even go to the restaurant or before you go to the dinner party or whatever it is. And if you're going to someone else's house, big way to set you and them up for success is to contact them beforehand and say, hey, I would love it if the food could contain this and not contain that. Like if you want to not have sugar, which tends to be a really good idea for a lot of people because there's candida going on, you have this systemic thing happening. Well, sugar feeds that. There's lots of research that says sugar feeds cancer. It's what cancer loves to have. Well, you might want to not be giving it to it. You might not want to set your body up for that. Sugar is the other white powder, right? It affects the brain. If you look at scans of the brain on cocaine, scans of a brain on sugar, the sugar lights up a little more than the cocaine. That is the cause for concern, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you have to give up sugar, because I can't tell you that. That's not my business. But I can tell you what's happening with sugar and what it does. And then if you choose to not have that, now you need to know there are 257 names for sugar, and it gets hidden in your food. So, there's a lot to do, a lot of learning, but it's all like, wow, they did that to me. Like, think about it. If sugar's okay, if sugar's good for you even, which sometimes marketers will try and tell you, why do they have 257 names for it? Maybe they're hiding something, huh?
It says, yes. So you are a behavior expert, and I know you as a behavior expert. And this is a new shift for you. So you're moving into this nutrition world. There has been a program that has just lit you up in terms of your behavior expert. So I'm super curious. You've got sort of this thing going. What has attracted you to this program that you're now doing, that you're now presenting to my group?
Okay, well, the common thread in everything I do is that it's behavior first. I am all about behavior, and I'm all about people being informed and having choices. So I'm a board certified behavior analyst, but that means I can look at your behavior and I can figure out, okay, this is what sparked it, this is where it went, this is what's keeping it going, da da da. I can also look at what could you do that would get you what you want in a better way, a more functional way, a way that you would like, right? But what I do is I give you that information. I don't take it and run with it myself or manipulate. Like, I'm not about that. It's not interesting to me. I came across this food program that is all about behavior change. So the path to food freedom is to choose it. And you choose it with your behaviors, right? You're not choosing anything different if you're still behaving the same. And you know that definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing and expect different results.
Right.
But people keep doing the same thing because they're on this treadmill. They're just on this continual cycle. And something else I'd like to say is I've done nutrition before. I am already a level 2 certified coach, and I'm a health and wellness coach with American Council on Exercise, and I'm a former nurse. So I've come at this from a bunch of different directions. And this program, I love it because it gives you the power.
All right, so tell us about the program. What's it all about?
Okay, so it launches on January 29th. There is a worldwide challenge. So this is going to be bigger than just me. There's a whole lot of people coming together. My part in it is that I'm going to have a group of up to 20 people. So it's a small group. And we will have our meetings where, you get to ask questions, check in with, do you have resources for this? What's this about? Hey, I heard that. Does it mean this? You go into whatever you want to go into. And the program itself, which is called WildFit, also has a weekly training from them where they're telling you what they're working on this week. And I support that. So you've got the big, massive kind of worldwide challenge with lots going on there. And you get lots of information from other people. And then you have this more semi-private situation where you can really fine-tune it for you, because it is all about getting your empowerment and getting it right for you. I don't succeed if you don't succeed. And my definition of success for you is that you're happy with the outcome. Now, it may look different, and there's lots of different non-scale victories that we look at, and those go up to making your quality of life. The scale is it's a thing, and sometimes it's an unhelpful thing. Like, that's not my main focus. I prefer for it not to be other people's main focus, but again, it's your choice. If it makes you happy to jump on the scale, do it. If it makes you miserable, I'm going to say you might want to think about doing something different, So that's essentially what it is, but we're going to have lots and lots of resources, hands-on, as much as you want in that little group.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, I love having a group together, and I really love the idea of like that power to choose again, in terms of choosing what outcomes you want and choosing what success means to you, right? Because
and be prepared to redefine that.
ooh.
Because when somebody comes in with, I have to lose 30 pounds, why? Does the world stop revolving if you don't? Like, what else would you like? And is there something a little closer, because sure, you can get there. That's no problem. It's your choice. But let's get the small successes. In behavior analysis, that's called behavioral momentum, where you have a success, a success, a success. And that's when motivation typically kicks in. After you've had success, the success motivates you.
Yes.
But we don't want to use motivation even still. It's great to know it's there, but the real tool is knowing what you want to do, making your decision, and not being pushed and pulled by programming.
That's right. And being proud of the things that you can control. I made this choice, yay me, pat on the head instead of,
Sure.
things that you can't control, which might look like pounds on the scale and stuff like that, right? So I absolutely love that. And so I'm super excited because you have created a freebie for the group today. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So there are, I didn't actually create it, I have to be fully honest here, but it does come from the Wild Fit program. And this is foods that boost your immune system. Because at this time of year, you can hear my winter cough, right? I'm not sick, but I just get this in the winter. I don't know. I'm living at altitude. Maybe it's that. But it's a thing that I have. People get allergies at different times and they get sensitivities and da da da. So this is sort of 9 things you can do to boost your immune system. And you can pick and choose. You don't have to try everything, but have a look at it and see what you think. And, that's part of having food freedom, right? Is knowing what can help you and what's non-functional. Instead of calling those certain fast food places fast food, I prefer to call it non-functional food because honestly, your body doesn't recognize that stuff. It doesn't know what it is and it doesn't know what to do with it. There's no judgment around that. It's simply those are the objective facts. And there's lots of research to show you that when your liver is metabolizing the food, it's like, I don't know what this is. I'm just going to store it because I don't know what this thing is. It doesn't have the programming.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So foods that boost your immune system. That is perfect for this time of year. If you want that from Michaela, put freebie in the chat and Michaela will reach out and send it over to you in the DM so that everybody can have it. That is fantastic. Any final words for the group before we sign off today?
Yeah, if I could get you all to do one thing, just one thing, drink more water. Right? Give yourself a huge help. It helps everything from sleep and skin to digestive system. Drink more water. And if I have one wish for you in 2024, it's that you take your power, whether you've had it before or not, doesn't matter. This is the year that you get it. Whatever that looks like, just it's yours.
I love
So
that. I
let's
love
do
that
it.
sentiment. Yes, I can see how excited you are about that. And I encourage you as you drink your water to be proud of yourself. I took a sip. Freaking right, right? Because your mind BS is going to want to jump in there and say, it's not working. I'm not losing weight. I'm still feeling hungry. Blah, 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 blah. Screw you, mind BS. No, thank you. We are going to be proud of ourselves for taking action steps towards our goals. So I can see a whole bunch of people have put freebie in the chat. This is fantastic. Michaela will follow up with you and send you that free resource on how to boost your immune system. Thank you so much for joining us today, Michaela. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. And I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Bye.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Bye. Join me in my Blissfully Busy Facebook group to see if we can figure out how to dodge burnout together.